So even though the Lions don't play till Monday night against Tampa Bay, there's still a bit to talk about in terms of Detroit sports because Pistons season wraps up and the Red Wings may not actually suck for once, although it is early in the season for NHL still. And also, we got a lot of details to talk about in terms of the NHL CBA, newest NHL CBA agreements that came out. So let's see what else happened in Detroit sports before we get to the Lions-Tampa Bay game Monday night.
Detroit basketball!
So Pistons preseason wrapped up with 2 games as they had a loss against Cleveland, which also saw Cleveland fans still pumping their chests trying to celebrate their victory lap over the Tigers being eliminated from the playoffs. And trying to flex over a preseason when it's like, seriously, Cleveland fans? You guys are so obsessed over Detroit so much because of Detroit fans returning the favor to what you Guardian fans have said? To where now you're flexing over a preseason win? You guys are pathetic. Just like the Wizards in the second preseason game against Detroit, with Detroit getting a big win against the Wizards to end the preseason on a positive note, going 2-2 in preseason. So preseason, I think, went about as well as you expect. It went about split. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives to look at, you know. Pistons still got a lot of work to do, of course. As we all know, this year for the Pistons is very crucial in this rebuilding picture. You know, because they got to try and prove this year that last year was no fluke and that last year was just a sign of things to come. I mean, whether last year was a flash in the pan or not will be answered through 82 games this year. But hey, you know, this team definitely has a bright future, you know. Especially having a healthy Cade and a healthy Jaden Ivey in the backcourt. The Pistons should be able to build off of last year. God damn it. Should Jaden Ivey stay fucking healthy for once? God damn it. Then again, we were able to make the playoffs and did pretty well without Jaden Ivey last year, but good God, I had a lot of optimism from Jaden Ivey. Because that dude cannot stay healthy if his life depended on it. God damn. But of course, you know, the regular season starts Wednesday as the Pistons' first 2 games this year are on the road in Chicago and Houston. And the home opener isn't until next Sunday against the Celtics. And oh yeah, the Pistons will be highlighting next week Detroit Sports Recap since the Lions are on a bye next week. So yeah, the Pistons will have their moment in the sun. But of course, let's get to the one Detroit team that actually deserves the spotlight this week. Now to the Red Wings this weekend. I'll be honest, I don't know what the hell Todd McClellan said to the boys after what happened with the home opener against Montreal. But whatever the hell Todd McClellan said to them, it worked because the Wings have continued to pick right up where they left off last Saturday against the Leafs. And continued the momentum as, yeah, the Todd father early in the season has worked his magic again. As, of course, the week started with a game in Toronto to end the home-and-home against the Leafs. As the Wings got out to a 2-0 lead early, only for the Leafs to claw their way back in. Only for Mason Appleton to rip Toronto's hearts right out of their chest with a goal with the game-winning goal at 50 seconds left. And also playing spoiler to Toronto since Monday was also Canadian Thanksgiving. Yes, because the Canadian and U.S. Thanksgiving are not on the same damn day. They're over a month apart. Plus, Canada's is on a Monday, while the U.S.'s is on a Thursday, near the end of November. But U.S.'s leads straight into Black Friday. So, yeah. But yeah, Wayne's already playing spoiler, winning the first 2 games already against the Leafs. And those could be big wins later in the year. And also, the Waynes are guaranteed to not lose the season series to Toronto this year. So that's a good positive to beat Toronto twice to open the season. And then the Waynes took that momentum and kept rolling with it. They took the ball and ran with it. Because they then followed that up with a big win against the Florida Panthers at home. Dominating the Panthers 4-1. And that's a big win too early in the year because that's the back-to-back reigning Cup Series champions in the Panthers. So big win there too. And the Wings kept it going too against Tampa Bay, as the Wings kept it going with a big overtime win against the Lightning. Even in that game against Tampa Bay, we even saw Axel Sandin-Pellikka get his first career NHL goal, which I was actually surprised. I didn't even think that Pellikka made the main roster, but hey, good to have him on the roster, thank fuck. Good to see some of these picks from the Wings finally make the main roster. Now all we need is Sebastian Cossa to get his ass up here. But also good to see John Gibson finally bouncing back and showing some form after that embarrassment he had to open the year against Montreal. And the Wings, and of course some overtime saw Dylan Larkin once to play Captain Save-A-Ho. How funny, how fitting since he captain. As yeah, Larkin got the game winner against Tampa Bay. And the Wings get a big win against the Edmonton Oilers with Finney and Larkin getting 2 goals each to help the Wings power past the Edmonton Oilers. Because they got the Oilers at a good time, because the Oilers always struggle early in the season. But yeah, Wings get the big win. And now the Wings, through 6 games, sit at 5-1. And of course, with that, the Wings are now currently at the top of the Atlantic Division 6 games in. But as we all know, even though it's positive momentum to win 5 out of 6 to start the year, you know, it's only 6 games. There's still 76 games left to go. Like I've always said before, NHL season, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And we're just getting started. Like, we're not really going to know what this team is till maybe the end of December. But definitely some positive momentum for sure. And maybe, just maybe, the Wings could do something special this year for the 100-year centennial season. All I say for the love of God is bring back Hey Hey Hockey Town for the Wings' first goal here. Especially if you're going to bring back the whole Hockey Town slogan for this season. Especially since you got the Hockey Town slogan on center ice, for Christ's sakes. But yeah, definitely positive momentum. But will the Wings? Can the Wings keep this momentum up? And can this power the Wings to the playoffs for the first time in a decade? And it better. Because if the Wings miss the playoffs again for a 10th straight year, this will most likely be Yzerman's last year, since Yzerman's ass is so far in the hot seat. But yeah, can the Wings get more firepower throughout the year? We'll have to see. It really depends on if Chris Ilitch meddles or not with his cheapness. I mean, it's very hard to tell, though, especially with Ilitch's cheapness. Especially with some of the shit that's now starting to come out with the whole Tariq Skubal situation. Since it was just reported that last year, the most the Tigers offered Skubal was a 4-year deal, less than $100 million. Like, yeah, I don't blame Skubal and the camp for rejecting that one bit. But yeah, hey, the Wings can definitely have positive momentum going if Chris Ilitch just stays out of it and lets Yzerman and the Todd fodder do their goddamn jobs. But yeah, definitely some positive returns to start the season, but you know, long way to go. And of course, we do got some details, though, since we do got some details on the new NHL CBA. Since there is good news, because the current CBA deal was set to expire after this season. But with the new details and extension coming out, it means that the NHL will not be heading toward a lockout next year. Thank fucking God. If we had to go through another hockey lockout, I would have probably lost shit. Especially since baseball is most likely about to go through that as well. So now with all that said, I think now's a good time to go over the new NHL CBA. As of course, the new CBA means that there's no chance of a lockout, as the deal is now extended all the way till 2030. And of course, some details in the CBA mean with this new CBA, with the NHL and the NHL Players Association, is that now the regular season starting next year will extend from 82 games to 84 games, and preseason will get shortened to only 4 games next year. And also, next season's going to start in mid-September, with the cup being handed out in mid-June, so the season will start a little earlier and end a little earlier, with the playoffs beginning like end of March, early April. So interesting there. And of course, they're also adjusted the contract lengths to where the max you can offer a player on free agency is now 7 years max contract instead of 8. The only way you get 8 now, you can get an 8-year contract extension max if you re-sign with your current team you're on. If you go to free agency, the max you can go is around 6-7 years. And also, the NHL has made some tweaks to the LTIR that pretty much says that you can't abuse the shit out of it, and that the LTIR cannot make you go past the previous year's salary cap. This is mainly in response to everyone complaining about Tampa Bay, teams like Tampa Bay, Florida, Chicago, and even Vegas. Yeah, Tampa Bay, Vegas, Chicago, and Florida that have abused the shit out of that salary cap, out of the LTIR to bring in more players for their cup runs. And which, oh, by the way, can I tell you all something? All 4 of them never broke any rules. And they never adjusted it until now. Because everyone complained about it, saying, oh, they were all cheating and buying more players and abusing it, when they were breaking no rules and working within the legal ramifications of the NHL. But yeah. And also on this, there will be no more deferred salaries or emergency backup goalies. So situations like David Ayers, a.k.a. the 42-year-old Zamboni driver that beat the Maple Leafs a few years ago, that situation will no longer will happen again, as now teams will have a full-time emergency backup goalie on the roster. And for this emergency backup goalie, they can practice and travel with the team at all times. So yeah, good that they did that. And also even though this isn't really part of the LTIR, part of CBA, I should mention this, that all the players from that were acquitted of all charges from that Hockey Canada sexual assault trial that got thrown out because the jury couldn't factually prove that the sex was non-consensual in that whole thing. Yeah, all the players acquitted in that whole thing can now play in the NHL starting in December 1st, so it'll all be reinstated. And of course, the most noteworthy player of the 5 that were involved in that whole deal, they can sign with any team after October 15th before full-time reinstatement, December 1st. And so far, the only one of those 5 noteworthy that has signed with a team was Carter Hart going to the Vegas Golden Knights. Because Vegas doesn't really care about baggage. They just want to get pieces to make another cup run. I mean, that's why they brought in Mitch Marner's baggage. But yeah, Carter Hart, though, even though he is with the Golden Knights, he can't play with Vegas yet until December 1st, but he is under contract with them. But yeah, quite a lot of details on the new NHL CBA. Now let's go ahead and let's play some hockey. See you all later. I'll see you all for Lions Buccaneers Monday night. I'm out.